I know it's 2022 and I should have replaced my Moza Air 2 a while back, but I was waiting for the RS3 to arrive. Just kidding. This gimbal was great with a lot of features and way ahead of its time. With camera mimic, using your iPhone to connect to it, the inception mode, and a lot more. It could also handle my Canon 5D Mark III with a battery grip, 2 batteries, and a big lens. But it had its own share of troubles. And for a lot of people online, with no help from Goodson, the company. There are a ton of complaints online on forums and Facebook pages, videos online showing different errors like the dreaded B3F1, the F3FF, it not turning on, and some weird code or the other. The bottom line is that the gimbal eventually just stops working for some reason or the other with no real solution out there. The good news is that I was able to solve these issues by following a series of steps which took a while to figure out. Hope this helps those of you who still have the Moza Air 2 and love it. Try out these steps and let me know what helped. I'm not an expert, but I like to solve problems and I've been lucky so far. So let's rewind a bit. In early 2019, I ordered my Moza Air 2 from Germany and got it shipped to India right after its launch. I used my Canon 5D Mark III with a battery grip and it worked flawlessly. I let it sit there in the case for a couple of months, COVID, lockdowns, you know. Soon after the lockdown ended, I needed to travel for an international trip. I charged the batteries using the provided charger and took the Air 2 with me. On site, I set everything up and started the gimbal. It worked for about a minute and then turned off. I restarted the gimbal, got about another 30 seconds or a minute, and it didn't turn on again. I guess the issue was the batteries because it let it overdrain while it laid in the case. I got through the day with a slider and some handheld footage. After getting back home, I tested the batteries. They were dead. There are several videos online how to revive these 18650 batteries, and I watched them and I did manage to revive the Moza batteries. I turned on the gimbal, a few minutes later it shut down again. This was frustrating. I sent a mail to Goodson asking for help and they said it was a battery issue, specifically these batteries. Asking for them for a replacement did not go anywhere. They said I needed to purchase new ones and they weren't available in India, so I had to get them from Germany at the time. I went online and I ordered a few similar 18650 2500 milliamp hour batteries from random brands. The fact that the Moza Air has its own specific size means that these ones would not fit in properly. So I would either need to solder something over here or somehow squeeze these batteries in for them to work. I charged these batteries and plugged them in, and yes, the Moza worked for about 10 minutes or so, not more. This was not enough for my work, so I ordered some more batteries and a different charger, still the same thing. Getting the right size battery was a big issue. Some were too thick or too short or too long. I got by using the Moza by having a ton of these batteries and just kept swapping them around. On long shoots, I would either run out of batteries because these take a lot of time to charge, and this thing doesn't charge them well. I got some other off-brand ones and I've been using them since. However, this method didn't last very long and I did get the errors of the B3F1 or whatever, and the Moza Air stopped turning on. So this told me the issue was not just the battery but something else too. A while later, I saw a video on YouTube where the Moza was powered by a V-mount battery. Brilliant. The YouTuber reported that the error was gone. I didn't plan to make my Moza even more heavy than it was, so the V-mount was not an option for me. And the fact that other batteries worked for a while, whereas the Moza didn't, means there was something else going on here. I upgraded my camera and bought the Canon R5 and tried it with the gimbal. After balancing it, it didn't turn on at all. When I put the Mark III back on the camera, it worked. With the R5, sometimes it would turn on and then it wouldn't. It was just random with random errors, including the B3F1 or not turning on at all or coming on for a fraction of a second and then going off. That was it. I was going to throw it out, but then the DJI RS3 Pro was still not available. So I decided to give this one more shot. I ordered the most powerful 18650 battery I could find online, which was 6000 milliamp hours, hoping this would fit in the Moza, and luckily it did. I charged those batteries one by one using this charger, not the one provided by Moza, and it fired right up, working well for a while. Remember I mentioned a minute ago that the issue was not just the power and something else? And why would it work with the 5D and not with the R5? Well, it is something else too. It is this pan motor here. With the mirrorless camera balanced properly, this rod here is slid all the way out. And this somehow puts a kink or puts pressure on the wiring that's under here. Using a T8 screwdriver, I took off this pan motor lid. First thing I would do is lock the gimbal. I would also use some masking tape and tape this over here so it's out of the way. Lay the gimbal down like so. The reason you want to lay it down is because as soon as you pop this lid off, the pan rod is going to pop out of it, and there's a wire connected to the gimbal underneath. That is the problem. So either there is a kink or some pressure, or it's being pulled too much. This is a design flaw. Whatever you do, make sure that that cable is out of the way. Push it in, fold it in, see if it's getting kinked. Once you get it out of the way and you put the cap back on, make sure you put this lock for the knob as well properly. If you don't put it in properly, the lid will not go on there. So put that in, put the screws back in, make sure the cable is out of the way, and you're good to go. Well, that's it. You change your batteries, make sure the cable is not kinked, make sure you get 5,000, 6,000 milliamp hour batteries, and this thing will start working. I wouldn't tighten these screws all the way tight, just in case that's what's causing the kinks. But so far, since I've done this, the Moza has not given me any errors, and it's been working absolutely fine. As you can see, when your camera is perfectly balanced, it does great. You can go into inception mode and start spinning and everything else without any problems. Well, I hope this video helps you find the problems in the Moza Air 2 and solve them, and keep using it. It's a great gimbal, and I think mine has still a few more years left in it. I'll see you next time.